What's up, everyone? Welcome into DodgerHeads, presented by DodgerBlue.com, part of the Blue Wire Podcast Network. My name is Jeff Spiegel, joined today by Matt Moreno. Matt, it seems like a crazy question to ask you, and the more that I think about it, the less crazy it seems. We know the Dodgers are in a situation where their starting shortstop is out for the year, Gavin Lux. And I want to suggest that maybe the answer to their shortstop problem is not Miguel Rojas, but it's another guy who we've had penciled in to another position on the diamond, a guy who has some versatility, maybe more versatility than he gets credit for. My question, Matt, is should the Dodgers try Mookie Betts out at shortstop? Here's the context of this. Mark DeRosa, who's managing Mookie Betts in the World Baseball Classic, quote, "I'm blown away by his preparation, to be honest with you. He gets out here early, getting ground balls at second and short. He gets his work in. He's a pro's pro. There's a reason he's a superstar." Mike Trout saw him taking ground balls at short, said he looked so natural that he asked Mookie if he would play shortstop. Mookie responded, quote, "No, they won't let me." I could go on and on here. I'll give you my thoughts in a moment. I'll give you the first chance here. Should the Dodgers try Mookie Betts out at shortstop?
I mean, not more than basically an emergency option. And there's several reasons. I don't want to necessarily get into all of them right now. So I know we'll kind of, go back and forth as to why, maybe it makes sense, doesn't make sense. But just kind of big picture, I don't know. Yes, it would kind of help the outfield logjam, and I think it would probably get James Outman on the opening day roster, which I know a lot of people are clamoring for. And you guys just covered it on the live show with yourself and Blake and Scott, and that was one of the talking points, and it's going to continue to be a talking point until and I'll just say it, until Outman is optioned to AAA Oklahoma City, and then it'll be a different discussion as to what are the Dodgers doing and all that. But I don't see Mookie being any sort of full, not even like part-time solution at shortstop for multiple reasons.
So here's kind of my thinking, and again, it started out as haha, that's a funny idea, to I wonder if this would actually work. And the reason is a few things. One is Miguel Rojas, fine defensive player, above average defensive player. The thing I don't know if people totally understand is Miguel Rojas last season was atrocious offensively. And we could say, he was injured and that was why, and he got it cleaned up. There were 130 qualified hitters last year, took enough at-bats. Miguel Rojas had the third worst weighted runs created plus. That's 73. So he was 27% below average. If you want some context for that, Cody Bellinger was 10% better than Miguel Rojas was. So take your Cody Bellinger experience, and it offensively might be worse with Miguel Rojas. So that's the first thing. I know Miguel Rojas is a name we recognize, but to believe that he's just going to get thrown out there, he'll be fine defensively, but he might be really, really bad offensively. The line that went with that, by the way, was a 236 batting average, a 283 on base, and a 323 slug. Okay. So again, maybe he was injured and he's going to get better. So that's option one. Is the shortstop option without Mookie there are not good. The second piece is the outfield options, if Mookie were to move to the infield, are actually pretty decent. You mentioned James Outman, a guy who's been probably their best hitter in the spring. We know he's going to be a plus defender wherever he plays. And so Outman has been great. We know David Peralta is going to get tons of run in left field because of what they paid him. Jason Hayward is a guy they like. Chris Taylor, Trace Thompson. They've got a bunch of options. And I would argue that every name I just mentioned is a better option for the starting nine than Miguel Rojas is. So that's point number two. Point number three, the final one. Mookie Betts almost assuredly can play short. I'm pretty sure this guy can do everything. And while I've been hesitant to move him to second base, shortstop is a whole different ballgame. A, because it's a greater need, but B, it's a premium position. And so the contract you're paying Mookie Betts makes more sense at shortstop. I can live with him being a shortstop. I bet he's got the range. He's got the intelligence. He looks smooth handling ground balls. Give this guy a month of work at shortstop. I think he can figure it out. Matt, to me, this is foolproof. I packaged it up. I don't know how you argue with any of the things I just said.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm looking at it as there's a very simple reason why it's not going to happen, and it would pretty much never happen, and it's health. Yeah. I think shortstop is just too demanding of a position for Mookie to play with any sort of regularity, and that's one factor. The move to second base that Dave Roberts said is going to happen this season a little bit, maybe more frequently than it has in years past, is with the mind of giving Mookie some sort of rest. Yes. Yeah. He openly, it's his natural position, if you will. It's what he grew up kind of playing, and where I think Mookie will admit himself it's what he wants to play for the rest of his career at some point in his career. Shortstop is a different animal, though. And if, you're moving him to that position, then especially if under your premise, you're needing him to do it on a regular basis, I just don't see it happening in that, like that reason alone. Now, I hear everything you're saying. And I think, if Miguel Rojas struggles to hit 2 months into the season, if Chris Taylor's trend from last season and now spring training carries the regular season, then like the Dodgers are going to find themselves in a difficult position. But I think they'll basically just say, look, it's kind of a repeat of Cody Bellinger from center field, just at shortstop, where you're trusting Miguel Rojas's defense, even offensively he's kind of struggling. And it should be noted that Andrew Friedman, we have this interview up on our YouTube channel, called Rojas one of the best defenders in baseball.
Yeah. And you mentioned Chris Taylor, who's kind of the backup plan at shortstop. Chris Taylor's 3 for 26 with 10 strikeouts so far this spring. So the Chris Taylor redemption tour, not exactly off to a roaring start. But I mean, I hear you. That's why I think you hit the nail on the head as far as why this won't happen. And it's because logically it might make sense, but the actual practicality of moving Mookie Betts to shortstop, as you said, the wear and tear that he would put on his body there. And look, the length of the contract that they have. And by the way, he's like the best defensive right fielder in all of baseball, which doesn't hurt either. And so as much as I think it makes sense from an offensive perspective, the Dodgers would be a better offensive team for sure if Mookie Betts moved to shortstop. I honestly am convinced that Mookie Betts could at least give you average defense at shortstop. Like he would probably be at least as good as we've gotten from Trey Turner and Corey Seager in years past. That's what makes it tempting. Again, give me Outman, give me Hayward, and give me David Peralta as my outfield with Mookie at short. That 9-man lineup, I feel a lot better about, but we'll see. I mean, I'm curious. Like, do people think I'm absolutely psychotic? Is it just a practicality where you're like, good idea, never going to happen? Or is there any belief? Because we keep seeing these videos, Matt, of him taking ground balls at short. And I know he says he's not allowed to play it, but I just wonder if do you think there's like 5% of Andrew Friedman's mind that is asking the question that I'm asking?
I think a little bit. And one reason I think could be what you guys touched on in the live show is the Dodgers' margin for error in the NL West this season isn't what it's been in years past. And so I forgot if it was Blake or Scott, though I'll have to apologize to one of them. I don't know. One of them, I think, brought it up first, that Blake, like, you need to basically, not that the Dodgers ever took things for granted per se. I mean, that they won't outright say that, but we've seen some of the lineups in July when you're up 10 games in the division and so-and-so is starting 3 games in a row.
Lots of Austin Barnes starts sprinkled in there. Is that what you're saying?
That's not what I'm saying, because that's Team Mexico's catcher. He just led them to a big win over the United States. But yeah, that luxury, the Dodgers, I don't think are going to have this season. And so to your point, like if you're looking at, hey, let's put the best kind of team on the field, like arguably that is, potentially with Mookie at shortstop. And, I've seen him before games at Dodger Stadium fielding grounders there. And I never really crossed my mind that he would want to do it. And so I find it kind of interesting that his response to Mike Trout was, they won't let me, because I feel like everything Mookie has always said has been, I want to play second base. I want to play second base, but they're paying me to play right field. Like, I feel like at some point he might have mentioned shortstop, but maybe also he looked at it as, Corey Seager was there, Trey Turner was there, and he wasn't going to play over them.
Yeah. We'll see. I'm curious. Do you think he plays at any point? He plays shortstop this season?
No, I don't see it. But I know you're going to throw the question out there again for our viewers to leave comments. I think you might get crushed now, but I do stand by, if you bring this topic up again a couple months into the season, if Rojas and or Chris Taylor are struggling at the plate, that you will definitely get the crowd to join your side. And so we may have to revisit this.
This is a penny stock.
Hopefully not, because that would mean that things are going poorly for Rojas and Chris Taylor. But if that happens, like I said, I think you'll get people on your side.
This takes a penny stock, folks. Buy it low. Just hold on to it for a couple of months when Rojas and Chris Taylor are in the bottom, 25 hitters in all of Major League Baseball. We could start to kick the tires on this one again. That's Matt Moreno. My name's Jeff Spiegel. As always, thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe, ring the notification bell. Check out Dodger Blue 1958 on social media, DodgerBlue.com as well. We appreciate you joining us. Enjoy the rest of your day. As always, go Dodgers.